my channel. For those who are new to my channel, my name is Prince Zay, and if you're new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe. Can't tell from today's title below, today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today's video is going to be something that I feel like is kind of important to me, something that's actually really big right now and really important that I feel like a lot of people aren't talking about. And basically, I'm just trying to raise awareness to it and maybe help somebody that has it, or help somebody that knows somebody that has it that they can help. Today, we're going to be talking about HS, or in other words, hidradenitis suppurativa. And I'm gonna have pictures and stuff as well in the video so you guys can see like what that is and X, Y, and Z. Today we're gonna be talking about hidradenitis suppurativa, or better known as HS. And hidradenitis suppurativa basically is a skin disease where you form like lumps and like lumps within your skin. It's like your sweat glands. It's all based around like your sweat glands, and your sweat glands become inflamed. And so you get like boils and cysts as the repercussion of all of that. And sometimes they also refer to it as reverse acne, because it's like having acne, but like on the inside of the skin. That's something that I actually suffer from. Just last year, I was diagnosed with HS, even though I kind of knew that I always had it. I feel like a lot of people have it, but they don't really know what it is. So basically, HS, it forms in like areas of your skin that's like sweaty and folded and like thick areas. So a lot of people will get HS in like their armpits. Like women get them below their breast. You can get them on your face, in your head. You can get them between your thighs. You can get them on your buttocks. You can get them down your legs. And some people get them on their arms and like X, Y, and Z. So a lot of places where you really heavily sweat at, and where the area is like folded and like thick, where it's not like out like how my arm is. So like if it's like a folded area. So those are areas where you get HS from. For me, I get HS between like my thighs and my buttocks. A backstory is back in 2021, I had moved to Illinois with my husband. And like I said, I kind of was getting HS, but I really didn't know what it was at the time. I would get like lumps in my armpits, like small lumps in my armpits. And then like sometimes like, once in a while on my thigh, and it would hurt, but I never really thought anything about it. And the crazy thing about it is my family was getting it as well. Like my mom and my sister were getting boils too. And they probably don't even know they have HS, but that's exactly what it was. But they were getting it too. And so when I moved to Illinois, I'm really not sure what triggered it to make it so bad, because now I get like flare-ups every week, or we'll get into all of that. But I'm not really sure what triggered it to be so bad. But I think because during COVID, a lot of people were sitting in the house and eating and gaining weight. And I gained just a little bit of weight, not too much, but just a little bit. But when I was in Illinois, I had a flare-up that was actually on my back. And I didn't think nothing of it because I was already getting flare-ups. And so I was kind of used to it by now. But this flare-up was a little bit different. This flare-up was hurting so bad. Like I could barely walk. I could barely get up. And then what made this flare-up so different was it wasn't coming out. So when you have a flare-up, the best thing, the good part about it is that you want to happen. You want the pus to be pushing out, because sometimes that's how you need to get cut open, because it's not going to drain on its own. It's not pushing out. But when it's trying to push out and you see it turning white, that is when it is about to drain on its own. And most of like 90%, I would say 95% of the time, that's how mine are. Probably 98% of the time, that's how mine are. But this particular time, it wasn't pushing out, and it actually was kind of flat, and it turned my back like purple, black, and blue. Like my back was so bruised from that one area. And so not only that, another thing that you have to watch for with HS is being sick, because you can get a flare-up, and like I said, it can drain on its own. But if you get a flare-up and it's like been a couple of days and it hasn't drained, and you start to feel sick and you get a fever, that's a problem. Like, and we'll get into that as well, but that's a problem, and you definitely want to go to the doctor. And so that's what happened to me. I was trying to wait it out and, do what I do for HS, and I started getting sick. I had like a fever. I was really, really sick. And that's when I knew it was time for me to go get checked out. I ended up going to get checked out, and come to find out that's what it was. And they told me that in my particular situation, the HS, the spot that it was in, the reason why it was forming like it was is because the HS was actually getting into my bloodstream, which is why I was getting sick. So I ended up having to get cut open. They took a razor and they cut me open, and then they went inside the cut and they cut the muscle open so that it could drain. And so from that point on, ever since that situation, I literally had flare-ups every week. Like from that one situation, HS got so bad for me. And like I said, last year, I finally found a dermatologist and I got diagnosed with HS. I was saying about things that you can do with HS when you do have a flare-up. So some things that I like to do is, because I have HS down below, I really recommend soaking in the tub. I recommend soaking in the tub with Epsom salt because I feel like the Epsom salt helps pull it to a head and it helps drain it. Like, it's been a lot of times where I will go sit in the tub and put Epsom salt in it, and out of nowhere it's draining by itself. Like, I didn't even feel it. I didn't even know it was draining, but it's draining. So I feel like soaking in the tub and using Epsom salt is really good. Also, another thing that's really good is using Hibisculin soap. So Hibisculin is like a soap that is used for like doctors or like nurses, and like it's supposed to be like a really good antibacterial soap. And so it actually gets out like infections, bacteria, all of that. And so you can actually use that on your flare-ups, especially when they open. And I feel like this is like 100% recommended. So I actually wash with the soap every day. Like, even if I don't have a flare-up, the areas where I had flare-ups at previously, I just go ahead and wash with that soap every day. Not only that, but I use antibacterial soap. So I use Dow. I use antibacterial soap and Hibisculins on the areas that I'm having flare-ups. And then I use the regular Dove soap and other soaps like for the rest of my body. And so for me, I feel like that really helps. I feel like it kind of minimizes the flare-ups because, like I said, when I first had that big flare-up in 2021, I was just getting them back to back to back to back, like, and it would be horrible. The pain, I feel like if you never had HS, or if you spoke to somebody that's like, oh, I'm hurting, and you really don't understand, I'm here to tell you that the pain is unbearable. Like, the pain is literally like 11 out of 10. And it's so crazy because the moment it drains, the pain is gone. Like, yesterday I had a flare-up. My pain was 11 out of 10. The moment it started draining, it went down to a 3. So I would definitely say use Hibisculins and Dow soap to help. I would also say finding a dermatologist will help as well, because I feel like the dermatologist, they will help you and guide you on your journey with HS and like what to do, what not to do, what medicines to take. Because before I went to the dermatologist, that's before I even was diagnosed with HS, because I didn't get diagnosed until I went to the dermatologist. But before I went there, I didn't have any antibiotics. I didn't know what to take. I really wasn't using Hibisculins. So once I got a dermatologist and did like my own personal research, I was able to kind of figure out what to do, how to pinpoint a flare-up and how to fight back against it. So I would definitely recommend getting a dermatologist. Even if you don't have HS, like even if you're having flare-ups in areas, like if you're having like lumps in your armpits or under your breast or your thighs, and you see that it's like persistent, like maybe you have it and then it goes away and then the next week you have it again, or I would definitely go see a dermatologist, because 9 times out of 10 you have HS, and HS is like a progressional thing. So there's like different stages of HS as well, with the 4th stage being the worst stage of them all. Like that's when you're like really fucked up, I feel like. So I would definitely recommend getting a dermatologist as well. I feel like a dermatologist is good for helping with those situations. I think some things that I would recommend to help with not getting flare-ups, I would say maintain a good diet. A lot of foods, like sugary foods, I feel like help the process of flare-ups flaring up, like you having the HS, because like I said, HS is like your sweat glands being inflamed. So if you're having that problem and you're eating a lot of like sugar and like just like foods that aren't really good for you, foods that's kind of fatty, foods that are like, you know what I'm saying? Like foods that are just not good for you, foods that are fatty, foods that have high carbs in them, like those foods are kind of what causes the HS. So if you're a person that has HS, you kind of want to cut back on those types of foods. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I need to cut back on those types of foods too, because like I told you guys, I'm still having flare-ups, I'm still going through it as well, but I'm maintaining it. Another thing that I feel like can help is, like I said, it's due to sweat glands, so sweating. So that's another thing. Like I excessively sweat. I sweat a lot. Like even before all of that was happening, I've always sweated a lot. But now that I've been diagnosed with HS and I'm getting it back to back, The sweating definitely contributes to it. Probably, I would say a good 85 to 90% of it. Because for another example, one time I went to the park and I was working out and I was fine. I didn't have no flare-ups at all. But then I started working out and I got really, really sweaty. Like I said, I excessively sweat. I got really, really sweaty. And by the time I got to the house on like a 20-minute drive, I was having a flare up. Like, it started hurting. And so I feel like sweating is definitely contributed to it. Sometimes they say that our body pushes out toxic, harmful toxic stuff. And so it comes out into our sweat, which is formed into HS, which could be a cause of it. But I think sweating is definitely a big cause of it. So I feel like that's another thing why I feel like you should probably go to a dermatologist. Like, I'm with a dermatologist and now I'm on sweat blocker pills. And so I don't sweat. And so because I don't sweat, I don't really have flare-ups like that. So instead of me having a flare-up every week, I may have a flare-up every other week. And that's really good. So I feel like sweating is definitely probably due to a lot of HS. Like I said, it's in folded areas that you sweat a lot, areas that probably aren't like, that get a lot of air breathing time. So I feel like those are areas where you definitely have a lot of HS. So I would look into sweat blockers as well if you sweat a lot, because it could be something else. Something else that I would also say that would probably help with HS is when you're having a flare up, something that's really good is, one, you can use turmeric. You can take some turmeric and you can take some tea tree oil and a little water and like make a paste and put it on the area that you're having a flare up. And so like the tea tree oil is like good with like inflammation and getting in there and like getting it all out and like getting your body together. And so is the turmeric. So both of those, all of that together will help. Something else that I find that really helps with HS is eggshell membrane. If you have an egg and you just crack it open and peel like that little slimy layer of skin that's in the inside of the shell and put it on your flare up, either it will do two things. It'll help bring it to a head, or it will actually diminish it. Because I've had times where I've had flare-ups too that didn't drain, but I didn't need it to be drained. And within like 3 to 4 days, it was kind of all gone completely. So I feel like the eggshell kind of does that as well, the eggshell membrane. Something else you can do is you can take potatoes, because potatoes help bring it to a head. Like if you're having a flare-up that's really frustrating and you just need it to be brought to a head, you can take a potato and cut it in half and put potatoes on it as well. Potatoes help bring it to a head. Like, a lot of these things really help HS. Like I said, I really wanted to bring awareness to it because I feel like a lot of people really don't know what HS is. Like, I went to a dentist appointment and you know how they ask you like, do you have this? Do you have this? And I put down, I have hydradenitis suppurativa, and she's like, well, what is that? And I'm like, trying to explain to her what that is, because a lot of people don't know what that is. A lot of jobs don't know what that is as well either. Like, if you go to apply for a job and you know how it has like the health section for you, I noticed that HS wasn't up there, and I feel like HS should be up there, because if you're working a job and you're having flare-ups like as bad as I'm having flare-ups, there's no way that you can like work week by week by week consistently. There's going to be a week where you're going to have to miss about 3 to 4 days, and it'll probably happen like twice a month. Maybe not, but like I said, if the flips are really bad and you're having them in areas where you can barely even move, how can you work? And how can the job accommodate you for something that they don't even know about? So I definitely feel like HS definitely should be huge. I feel like that should be something a lot of people should be talking about, because I feel like a lot of people are suffering from it. I think we need more commercials about it. I seen for the first time, like 2 months ago, for the first time, I seen a HS commercial, and I had never seen one before, but when I seen one, it made me happy, because I know that they're trying their hardest to bring awareness to this type of skin disease that a lot of people aren't aware about. But I feel like if you know somebody who has it, or if you think you're suffering from it yourself, definitely go reach out to help. Go to a dermatologist, do your research yourself. You can go on Google, and Google has a lot of things that you can do to either maintain it, or places that you can go to help maintain it. So I would definitely look into all of that. I'm going to talk too much. Like I said, I wanted to give just a little bit of insight on hidradenitis suppurativa, things that you can do to prevent it, things that you can do to help it, things that you can do to help drain it, help heal it, things like that. Thank you for watching my video. I hope this helps somebody that, like I said, has hidradenitis suppurativa, or maybe you know somebody that's suffering from it and isn't going to get help. Maybe you can help them just from this video. So again, I thank you guys for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and your boy is out.